My trip to Cambridge, Massachusetts wasn't like a dreamer's journey. It was a challenge. I was accepted into a short-term exchange program for young engineers at MIT. You probably remember me, Dr. Valeri, the chaotic inventor who turned school failure into technological success. The problem was that in America, my creative mess looked like a criminal mess. My dorm room resembled a nuclear testing zone. Disassembled wires, soldering irons working around the clock, and, of course, my faithful, though slightly scorched robot cleaner, whom I named Toaster. I came to work on an optical levitation project, but my thoughts were tangled. I could figure out the most complex differential equations, but I absolutely didn't understand the local social codes, how to order coffee, why people constantly ask how you are, and most importantly, how love works. That was a type of physics I hadn't yet mastered. One evening, I was in the famous MIT library looking for a rare manual on nanophotonic structures. I stared fixedly at the top shelf. I could jump, but that wouldn't be worthy of an inventor. I was about to use my pocket laser pointer as a catapult for the book when I heard, "Oh no! Please don't break my father's library infrastructure." Standing next to me was a girl, tall, with hair the color of ripe cherries, and eyes that looked at me as if reading the formula of my life. This was Evelyn.
She wasn't like my engineering colleagues. She studied art history and architecture. She knew about symmetry and balance, while I knew about asymmetry and chaos. She was the daughter of one of the library's founding professors, hence the joke about her father. Evelyn didn't laugh at my laser pointer plan. She just reached out and easily, without drama, took down the book I was looking for. She was much taller than I was. "Are you looking for Professor Eliot's old manual?" she asked. "You seem to be the only one still using it. You have an interesting angle on physics." I felt all the formulas in my head mixed together. I couldn't find the right word in either Ukrainian or English. It was like a zero-division error in my operating system. We started talking, not about dating, but about interconnections. Evelyn saw beauty in the bridges that Eiffel built. I saw beauty in the stress calculations within those bridges. She told me about Leonardo da Vinci, who combined art and engineering. I told her about how quantum entanglement is the perfect metaphor for two souls becoming one, even at a distance. "Valeri," she said once when we were sitting in the park, "you are the only person who can explain the first law of thermodynamics to me through the analogy of a kiss. Energy is not lost, it simply transfers from one object to another." In fact, I first applied this theory to her. My energy and focus had completely shifted to her. For the first time in my life, I couldn't calculate the future. I knew how to design a flying machine, but I didn't know how to make this girl stay. My scientific logic was powerless against the chaos of emotions. The climax came at my final project presentation. I was supposed to demonstrate a working prototype of an optical levitator that could lift very light objects using a laser beam. I was so excited by Evelyn that, of course, everything went wrong. During the demonstration, instead of lifting a tiny piece of graphite, my laser, due to a wiring error, my eternal chaos, shot the scoreboard and turned off the lights in the entire auditorium. There was a complete blackout. Total embarrassment. I stood in the dark, feeling my brain reboot. All my achievements, all my titles, everything vanished in the darkness.
Olenna turned pale. Max stood up, his face a mix of guilt and defiance. Andry was all he could manage. No need for explanations. I raised my hand, stopping him. I didn't need his excuses about how it just happened or how they didn't want to hurt me. I saw the truth in his eyes. He knew what he was doing, and he did it anyway. He consciously crossed the line. You know, Max? I looked him straight in the eye, feeling anger mix with deep, cold disappointment. How many times did we agree on what was off limits? Other guys' girls, other people's jobs, other people's secrets. And a best friend's ex? That seemed to be an unwritten rule, an axiom. He tried to touch my shoulder, but I stepped back. You're wrong, Andry. He started. No, Max, you didn't betray her. You betrayed me. You didn't take a girlfriend. You took our history, our trust. You proved that in your hierarchy, the desire for one girl is valued higher than a decade of our friendship. I looked at Olenna. She was staring at the table. Her silence was the most painful confirmation of their shared betrayal. I wish you happiness, I said, and it sounded like a curse meant to burn away their joint future. Just remember, Max, if you could so easily cross me out for her, who guarantees that one day you won't cross her out for something else? I turned and left. I didn't look back, even though I felt their gazes on my back.